AB, Adrien the Problem Broner. Well, the real problem is, AB, you put you versus Dev on your IG. So I hit you out of respect for you and the boxing community in general. The message went on scene, so you and I and everyone else knows what that means. AB, you once represented the respect of boxing, the respect of the hood. Don't worry about it, AB. We're going to take it over from here. It's the Devin Haney era. And you knew we was going to pull up. It's business. It's not personal. Get back to doing what you're doing, brother. And Devin is doing what he's doing. Representing this shit to the fullest. Y'all have a blessed day. On purpose.
Hey, yo. Bill Haney responds to, AB, Algebra Books, Adrien the Problem Broner. You heard what he had to say. Now it's time for Boxing Ego Say. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego. Make sure you guys come in and subscribe to the channel. Check out my last video. I've been talking about this. So randomly, Bill Haney did IG live. And during this live, he was kind of just going over whatever he was talking about, right? And during that, a fan must have asked Bill Haney, would you guys fight, meaning his son, would you guys fight Adrien Broner? And I made a video. You really should check that video and then come back to this video. But roughly what Bill Haney said was that Adrien Broner wouldn't want no smoke. He basically said that if they offer, he said if Broner seen Dev with boxing gloves on, then he would flip his car around and turn the other way, which is basically saying a person wants no smoke. Clearly, that wasn't going to fare well with Adrien Broner, who, in my opinion, he's never really ducked smoke. So I don't see why, and that's probably part of the problem, Adrien Broner, is he's always been in the front of the line to fight these big name fights, to the point where there was moments where maybe he needed to rebuild his career and then take some easier fights, but he didn't do that. So you got to give credit to Broner for being a dog. Adrien Broner's response, you guys see it on the screen. It says, Bill Haney, if you want to get your son, real Devin Haney, effed up, send a contract. I ain't never ran from no man in boxing. Why would I run away from your son? He can't punch himself out of a wet paper bag. Stop all that cap, because I'm with the ish and I want the smoke. I want all the smoke. Show me the dotted line. So he's basically saying send the contract. So did his trainer, Kevin Cunningham, right? So Bill Haney's response was to this post. Bill Haney is saying that he called Adrien Broner and he was left on scene or left on red or whatever, which he's implying that Broner purposely hasn't responded to him because of he doesn't want smoke. Before I continue and give you guys my thoughts, a word from the sponsor of today's video. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. So Bill Haney, he's advocating for his son, which is nothing new under the sun. And he's trying to get his son lined up his next fight. They said what they said about Adrien Broner, and Bill is alleging that he hit up Broner and Broner didn't respond. But I mean, my thing is this all just happened. This is my honest opinion. This all just happened. So who's to say what Broner is doing for real? Like, you called him, and because he didn't call back, you made a follow-up video and said like he don't want no smoke. But from my perspective, that's not really how negotiations truly work. And I've said that time and time again. Anytime I see this goes for anybody in boxing, including the Haneys or anybody else. My personal opinion, anytime I see rabid negotiating in public, I just assume that it's just today's social media promoting your fighter and things like that. This is why, like, when Devin Haney, when it was all talked about online, said, oh, he's fighting Ryan Garcia, the Ryan fights next. You had Bill Haney, Devin Haney, and Oscar and Ryan. They all had typed on social media various messages or done social media spots and really did like interviews on YouTube saying that they were in correspondence with each other. A lot of people got hyped. Your boy Ego didn't get hyped. There's a very specific reason why Ego didn't get hyped, because I've been in the business long enough and I know how this stuff works. And again, I'll say it again for the slow people in the back. Anytime there's especially the bigger the fight or the more anticipated the fight, then 10x this rule. So this is a rule no matter if it's a small fight, medium fight, or a big fight. But in the event of a big fight, just 10x this rule. Meaning everything I'm about to say to you, I feel 10 times, like to the 10th power, I feel what I'm about to say to you. I'm going to say it again. Anytime that there's a big fight, and the bigger the fight, the more talk that I hear before contracts are signed, before we get a press conference, your boy Ego, and quote me on this, if you ever see me on my channel, it's going to be the same energy, and I'm always going to say this. But the bigger the fight, the more anticipated the fight, the more hungry the fans are for the fight. If I see a lot of hoopla and talk and banter and chatter and back and forth and a bunch of posts, then I just assume from what boxing has shown me that the fight is truly not happening next, right? And I'm going to keep doing that because more often than not, that is the case. Like, how many times have we seen these instances where two fighters like, oh, your mother and whoop, 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 and I'll beat you up and all these different things, and the fans trip out, get hyped, argue about who's going to win, argue about, when it will take place. Fans, like, I don't know if they're lying. I was about to say they lying, but, fans claim they bought hotel flights and hotel tickets to go to the fight. Like, and it's not even a real done deal. Like, let's say Frank Martin and Shakur Stevenson. The fight got fake announced by ESPN, and everyone was like hyped, and people like, oh, I'm buying tickets and I got my flight and hotel to Vegas. They haven't even announced, like, Top Rank, who would be probably hosting the fight, PBC, who may be a co-promoter if that fight were to happen. They didn't post it. They didn't put out a flyer. They didn't tell you a time, a venue, a press conference. Why on earth would you buy your flight and your ticket and stuff? And then what happened? They're like, oh, the fight fell apart. There's a money issues and this issues. And some of y'all are dumb enough to keep falling for this. So I didn't even want to see Devin Haney versus Broner, but I don't get in the way of fights. If that's what it was, then that's what it was. You know what I mean? So I don't jump in the mix and like prevent fights from happening. But it wasn't a fight that I truly needed to see, because I said in my last video, they're in different eras. Broner, his era, he's a little bit older, so older than Devin, you know what I mean? So his era was pretty much a different era. And he's fought the people in his era, Jesse Vargas and Pacquiao's and Sean Porter's and DeMarco, and Devin Haney's part of this new generation. So I didn't too much want to see this fight anyways. So I'm not surprised that shortly after we're hearing that, oh, you didn't want none anyway and stuff like that. So I'd rather see Devin Haney fight some of the other contemporaries closer to his age, like Subriel Matias, you got the Tank fight, Ryan Garcia, whoever, Shakur, just people who were part of his era. I didn't really anticipate this fight, even though some people get hyped, because this is what I noticed. A lot of y'all are gossip heads. Y'all just want the gossip and the juicy, at each other's throats and the beef and stuff. And that's cool to a degree. But for me, I really care about the growth of the sport of boxing. And for me, it doesn't grow the sport of boxing if it's a bunch of talk, a bunch of typing, and then the fight itself doesn't happen. So mark my words, anytime that the fight is overly promoted before the business is signed for, before terms are agreed, and it's just a bunch of videos and text and typing, then I just anticipate the fight is literally not happening. You know, you guys do whatever you want. You guys can keep gassing it and be like, oh, and gaslighting Devin Haney and Broner. But I didn't really see that as being a realistic fight. And bad news, if you were expecting it, it doesn't look like there's any traction. So Devin Haney, they're going to have to work on his true next move. Like, who is Dev going to fight? It wasn't Ryan Garcia. Ryan said he's going a different route. It's probably not going to be Rolly, who's another champion. And Sandor Martin just signed with Top Rank. So I'm not saying it makes the fight more complicated, but it's just something else to think about. Sandor Martin has a co-promotional deal with Top Rank as of today. Top Rank just sent me the email, right? So that's Devin's mandatory. Devin's also at least talked about the idea of moving to 47. But again, who is he going to fight at 47? I've seen names like, some of the names aren't realistic, like Jaron Ennis and Terrence Crawford. It's not really realistic to me. And even the Keith Thurman, I don't know how realistic that is. Where's Keith even been? Like, he hasn't even been active. Keith was invited to Devin Haney versus Prograis, but he didn't show up to the fight. So who knows what he's on and what he's talking about. And again, we haven't even seen Devin Haney at welterweight. And Devin Haney's with Eddie Hearn for the most part. That's what it seems like, at least to me. So we'll have to wait and see what Eddie can get for his fighter. Devin's also talked about fighting in Saudi Arabia. I don't know how many of these fights you can lure to Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean? So ultimately, we'll see. I told you, I think it's going to be Sandor Martin, but we'll see. Subscribe. I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. For all your boxing news, this is your one-stop shop.